Whoa. Okay. Hang on, something's wrong. I'll be right back. Is it showing the stream as the critiques? It doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's like, it looks like it's titled wrong, but let me see. You like that, Harry? Nice. Okay, it looks like everything is correct, though it's giving me the wrong text and stuff for the title. It's kind of annoying. How you guys doing? Let me just make sure I've got everything set up here. I need to post the thread in the Discord. It's week 5. Yeah, the title of the YouTube video is it's wrong on Twitch, I think, but on YouTube it's okay. All good, all good. Man, I'm just realizing I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. Ziggy, what's up? How you doing? Discord critiques. Let me just confirm. This is yes. Export. All right. Okay, let me get the link for the thread. Can you ask me something quick about Blender 5? Yeah, go for it. What's up? Go for it, man. We can look at it while people are posting their stuff anyways. So it's all good. Did this happen to you? Since I've upgraded to Blender 5.0, the Alt left mouse button rotates the camera like a Maya instead of select edge loops. Thing is I never changed it and the keybinds are still assigned to select edge loop and not rotate. Alt left mouse button. Oh, whoops, I didn't even... Dude, today I am off my game, apparently. Hang on. Corbett, what's up? Stalabov, yo, yo, yo. Radmark, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, so did this ever happen to you? I'm gonna load it up. We're gonna look at it really quick. Okay, I'm gonna lower the music now. Now move the Discord. Okay. Cool. Just you know, slowly getting things ready. Or working, rather. Okay, I got Blender up. Ryu, what's up, Ryu? Vish, how you doing? Hello. Coursevid, I think I said hello, but hello. I'm doing good. How are you doing? Okay. I see people typing for their Discord critiques. So let's go here. We'll look at Blender really fast because there was a question. Set dressing a scene, nice. Yeah, I'm doing good. I had a very random dinner where you just kind of found stuff that sounded good to eat and just ate them together. Stuff you would never imagine to put together. It was a strange dinner, but it was delicious. Okay, so Alt left mouse button rotates the camera like in Maya instead of selecting edge loops. So I mean, if I create a cube and we go into edit mode, Alt left mouse button is rotating for me as well. If that's not normal to you, like if that's not normal for you, if you go to preferences, let me see here, and you go to interface, navigation, it might be something to do with, where is it at? Key maps. So what I have is it key maps? Or is it input? It's input. So in input, I have emulate 3 mouse, or the 3 button mouse, because that helps me simulate the camera movement like Moto a little bit. So that might be, I would check your input and see what these are set at and just play around with like turning these on and off. But I just left click to select things, select edges, and then Alt left clicking doesn't do anything. But Alt left click dragging changes stuff. So I don't know if that answers your question, dude. Burke, what's up? How you doing? Crystal, yo, Eden, yo. Raggedy, what's up, dude? What is up? Okay, where are we at here? So on Twitch, yeah, 720p is apparently normal now. So I'm multi-streaming, and on YouTube it's 1080, and on Twitch it's 720. And I'm not sure why or how to change that. I'm using Restream, so if you know, you can tell me. I won't fix it midstream because that's going to be chaos. But from what I can tell, I have no control over that unless I'm paying, which is a bit annoying. I mean, maybe I'll find another solution. But if you want it higher res, jump to YouTube. All right, I'm coming to YouTube. Is this how I secretly force everyone to YouTube? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so apologies. YouTube is better, he says from Twitch. Okay, where are we at here? I'm gonna just put my bar here. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, I'm gonna just start up Affinity here. And while I look at your guys' stuff on the other screen, how are you guys doing, by the way? Things good? I'm going to leave Blender open in case there's like a random reason to, you know, show an example of something. But yeah, maybe I will, maybe I'll use Epic Pen as well. Sometimes I use it. What the heck? Where did it go? Epic Pen. There it is. Epic Pen's pretty cool. Is it starting? There it is. Epic Pen's nice because you can just doodle on the screen, and then you can just you can hide it if you. I think it's Control Shift. Yeah, Control Shift, and then you've got your number keys, and then you got a clear button here, which I don't know what that button is, but yeah. Yay. Because everyone is here, I am here. Nice. What's up, Nature? How you doing? You've joined the dark side, dude. Enjoy the popcorn. Omar, what's up? How you doing? We're getting ready to look at some of your guys' stuff. Right now, we've got some. We've got a couple posts. Some of the stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, no, this is all looking dandy. Epic Pen is outside of Blender. Yeah, it's just a tool, separate of Blender. A bit choppy though. I'm kind of weird. Weirded me out. If you are used to beyond accent feedback, you will be fine here too. What does that mean? What does that mean? How's it going? Okay. Whoa, we're not installing an update right now. Cool. Let's get started. So, man, you guys wrote some serious text as well. Oh, and there's a video. Videos are a little difficult for me to hang on. Let's see. Hang on here. Let's see how I do this. Getting spoilers and stuff. Oh, I don't. Okay, I have to download it. 2 seconds. I'm not mean or anything. Oh, is that what you mean? Declan, what's up? I found you have to be careful and leaving Epic Pen running as it consumes a lot of resources. Are you kidding me? Okay, it's closed. Okay. Dude, I'm all over the place today. Hang on. So I have a video. I'm gonna play it in another window. Just want to make sure I'm not like popping up crazy things. Hang on. Okay, so this one is from Omar. I've been trying to depict an important moment where two figures arrived to the shrine and converse before maybe going in, coming from the fort in the background. Is there too much going on? My lighting is kind of purposely diffused and foggy, but I'm not sure if an outside eye would feel like this is all just too flat. So North African forts can have very repetitive patterns, but would you break it up more just for art's sake? Big thanks. I added the refs below, more down in the chat. Okay, cool. Let's take a peek first. I think I've seen this scene before. So it kind of has like a little bit of a diorama vibe to it. So I think I'm kind of just letting how far does it go here? Okay. So I would say that maybe the camera is a bit slow with the elements that are up front. The elements that are up front, I would make even darker, like this shape here. And then, of course, don't mind the compression weirdness. That is really strange. um, I don't think you need to change much with the buildings. It's more about getting, oh wow, this video player is going wild. I think it's more about separation and getting like a sense of the layers. So if we copy this, let me just, so if you were to like let's imagine that if I grab these rocks that are up front, those are the things I was saying, you got to make those darker, right? So maybe I can do that. Yeah, so if those were darkened down or like just kind of pushed down so they separate from the rest of the elements, that's going to help a ton already, right? From there, then it's just a matter of like, what? Like, what's going on here? That can help separate from the other rocks, right? And then you've got the people and then the buildings and whatnot behind. And you are getting a little bit of separation already, but like going further with it, like if you take this line here, if you can separate that even further, push all these elements back, because you're already doing it a little bit back here, which is really cool. Yeah, being able to separate those out, big impact on visual. Now you're worried about the general like flatness of the scene. I think really lean on the direction of lighting. Right now everything is very evenly lit. So of course like this is pretty dark, right? But like let's like if we look at this building, this is so evenly lit on the top that you could mistake that for the moon, right? So if you could even just select the corner of this, right? I'm just going to do this with my mouse real fast. If we did like a levels on that and you start to push that down, just that alone, you can start to get a sense of the directionality of the light, right? And being able to do that in more of the scene would help a lot, I think. Let's see if I can. So for example, this building is weirdly dark considering the light direction. And maybe I don't know where the lighting is coming from. It looks like it's coming from this direction. So the shadow would actually be, the light would be hitting here. So you want to be looking at like what you can do when it comes to, what is going on with my, what is this brush? Oh, I see what's going on. There we go. Right, so lighting the sides of the buildings where it makes sense gives you a sense of direction, because then you can take the characters and also do the same thing. Right now, it's kind of hard to tell, and the only thing that tells you which direction the light is coming from is mainly this building and this building. So like these sides, right? Well, probably better like this. This side's telling you which way the lighting is hitting, right? And outside of that, you don't really get a sense of that directionality anywhere else. There's also like a really warm light here. And so you want to try and do, it's a moon temple. You want to try and do more, I guess the term would be like practical lighting that matches the scenario. So like, even though there's warm lighting here, you're probably going to want to, are you guys here? I'm waiting. It looks like it's back. Is it back? Man, that was it dipped hard. Like OBS even popped up and said, "Hey, everything's offline." Okay, we're back. But yeah, essentially getting a sense of directionality with your lighting is going to be key. Also, this window is super, like this opening is really, really dark. Careful with how dark this is. Like I would extrude that in and get some type of lighting in there or gradients or whatnot. Yeah, it's kind of, so it is flat in some ways, but there's ways to get this darkness to still work. You just need a consistent direction with your lighting. The depth is pretty good, more layered separation, and then really leaning on the direction of like where the lights are coming from is going to be key for you, I think. If I scroll down, you said that there were some references. I don't see the references. Oh, there they are. Can I just drag it in? Oh yeah, look at that. Cool. Yeah, you can see even with like this piece, all the lighting is clearly coming from a very specific direction. And of course, it's like on the tops of the buildings. When you can see the top of the building, it's pretty illuminated, but it's all coming from one direction. Yeah, I mean, I think all your elements are there, dude. The moonlighting can really like get these trees to pop more, you know? Like if we were to, let me just like do this again, do like a levels, and we'll kind of like, I'll bring it up a little bit and then maybe like, let's see, bring the whites up just a hair. I like how painterly the background feels. Feels really nice. And then we'll make like a black mask, and then we can paint this in, because this is where, in my opinion, the really nice like masking. Let's see how this does. This is where you can get those elements to pop. So like really seeing the edges of stuff, and you can see like I'm gonna do a really like basic paint over the top of it, but from a distance you can see how much that's gonna get the elements to pop out. And of course, like I'm just painting this in, but I think if you were doing this with the directional lighting, the volume of the plants is just going to be so much stronger. But yeah, cool. I hope that's helpful to you, sir. I don't think your scene is too dark. It just needs some elements to help like separate the layers. What's man, the beginning of that stream really threw me off. Like I'm like, where am I? What's happening? Let me just delete these. I'm gonna lock this layer. But yeah, no, really cool. It's a cool scene, and it's also really interesting because you don't see much of that. The patterns on the buildings as well, like you were worried about, I don't feel like they're too busy or the repetition's too crazy. Okay, let's grab this next one. So this next one is from Momin. I think that's how you say your name. We just drag this over like this. This is not the whole shot. Okay, there we go. And then the other image you sent, I'm assuming is the concept. So hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. I'm very happy. Yes, you need some guidance on the story for the environment. One option being an environment is abandoned and clearly people used to live here. Another is still abandoned, but they left forcefully by a mob/faction or something. So it's a more intense turmoil needs to be present in the scene, I guess, in that sense. My gut feeling is that is to go with the first, as I feel the later might be a constant challenge to convey clearly and risk not honing in on the atmosphere. Yeah, so abandoned, like generally abandoned, is pretty easy to sell just because it's like how abandoned is the space, or like how long ago was it abandoned. So we bring in the concept here. So this one is like, so this is the concept you're working off of. You'd like my insight to ensure long-term success of this piece and to stand out. I will be adding dead leaves and broken windows. Okay. Cool. I mean, let's see. So we got hanging clothes. We got a lot of plants, bicycle. There's some like pottery stuff. And in your scene, you've added a well. You've got hanging clothes. I think if you were to go with like, so let me first say like the framing is really nice. It's like this nice with this, the plant here and stuff. I think things being abandoned, usually plants when they're in planters, they don't usually do too well unless they can get a source of water naturally, right? Because they're no longer able to, they're not getting watered, and they're just like, they don't have access to the water in the ground, right? I think the well is pretty cool. It might be, I would play a little bit with bringing it closer to you and maybe not blocking the doorway. Just because the doorway kind of gives you a sense of like somewhere to go. You can also see in the concept, they're using the lighting to separate out the space a little bit. So for example, maybe this color is good. For example, you can see all the lighting is kind of hitting here, right? And then it hits along the edge here, which can get the foreground elements to pop out a bit. And then you get some lighting back here. So because it's split like this, the concept is literally like half lit. And then you have the doorway. So I think with yours, I would see if you can get a little bit more lighting to maybe like hit around here. I wonder if I can fake that. Let's see. I'm just going to like crunch this thing to the max, which sounds crazy, but yeah. Yeah. And then we'll put a mask on top of that and invert it. Because this will allow you to like, you can essentially have the lighting hit in areas that you want to illuminate. Like maybe not up in here, but like these elements are kind of popping out. Of course we need to, that levels is interesting. It's also like really saturated, but getting those to like pop will just give you a better framing for like what you're trying to look at. I think the fountain, the reason I suggest bringing it forward is to open up this doorway a little bit. If you wanted to feel abandoned, like people left in a hurry and then it was just forgotten, I would suggest keeping the hanging clothes up there and then maybe just like tattering them or like putting a bunch of holes in them. Like they just stayed up there and got rained on like crazy. They dried out, they got rained on again. You know, the weather is just breaking down the fabric. Tipped over bucket is pretty good. Maybe tilting it a little bit further away from the camera. So like right now it's pointing this way. Maybe if it was pointing this way instead, you'll get a little bit more depth or size understanding of the object. And then if you put like a little bit of dirt inside of there, oh nice, I'm using a mask thing. I'm using curves for some reason. Oh, I see why. Dude, every time, man. I'm not used to this. Getting some dirt in there is going to work wonders for like getting a sense of like time passing, you know? So it can feel like this has been here a while and everything's just kind of overgrowing. Maybe there's a little bit of like dirt buildup here. The tipped over pottery and stuff, and like the what are these, like lemons? These are a nice little detail. I think of these like little grass blades. Getting more of those around like the edges of stuff is gonna do a lot. And yeah, I think it's generally, I mean, I think this scene's gonna be cool. And it's more about thinking about what happens when the place is abandoned. So if you, yeah, and your foliage looks pretty good. I'm assuming you're building it in clusters and you're placing those clusters to make arrangements, right? So there's probably like a library of like 10 pieces or less. I would think about how this stuff overgrows. What does it climb over? All that stuff. Like this is great that this is like, this looks dead, but it looks really lush for being dead. I'd probably like make it feel a little bit more sparse. And yeah, I think it's going to be about getting the depth in the scene, which I think the doorway being open, maybe the lighting, like I was saying, hitting a little bit more of the facade of the building and the plants, and then maybe even overgrowing it a little bit more. Also think about a lot of aging is going to happen in the surfaces. So if you're damaging the surfaces quite a bit, like if we look here, it's like this is all brick. You might want to try doing all of the brick and then in the shader putting a like material on top of it, like a stucco, and then chip it away with Vertex paint or masks to really show the aging. And then the layering of like grime and decals and whatnot is gonna really like take it over the top when it comes to like that abandoned feel. Abandoned is difficult. It needs to feel like no one's been there for a while is basically what needs to happen. Yeah. And I think the amount of time, like some of the stuff that you're putting in here, like you're trying to show time is passing. So there's all these things in the way and stuff is tipped over. There's luggage here. It looks like, is this luggage with clothing? I think with that type of stuff, I would make sure that it's still clear where the paths are out, right? So don't crowd it up too much. Like you can put the stuff here, but always give the viewer a way out, which is like if you bring this forward, you can help connect paths or like areas that they can go. Like if the light is coming up from higher, maybe the light can hit on these steps a little bit, which could be really cool. And then you could fake like a bounce light. You could place a light here that illuminates upwards and gradients to like a darkness. So that way you can see a little bit of the wall, but you still get that depth as it goes into the shadow. And then of course, like this back area, nice and bright, like direct light, like you're seeing here. There's some nice details though. I like what you're doing here with the bricks. See what else we got going on here. Yeah, no, this is gonna be cool. Maybe the think about what happens to gutters as they like fail, as they get filled with water and gunk, and over time, like no one's cleaning them. Like, what does that look like? You know, there's gonna be a lot of leaves up here. It's gonna probably get filled up and be overflowing a little bit. There's probably gonna be quite a bit of drippage and griminess going along that. But yeah, also maybe be careful with your tangents, like this edge here. You could probably take that and move it here just to get it a little bit further away from the top edge here, or just like adjust it so it's just a little bit lower, because the positioning of it's nice. It just is like maybe the top is a bit high, so it's getting really close to that edge. This is a cool scene though. I mean, this is gonna look really, really cool. This line feels a little unnatural. Might want to like scoop it up a bit, like what's going on here. You've got this like these bumps. And if you look this one, if I trace this one, it's more curved, whereas this one kind of has the lumpiness to it. I'm reading the chat really fast here. Giving me blueprints. Nice. I'll take it. But yeah, really cool scene. I like the changes you've made to it as well with the well and whatnot. Just adapting its framing a little bit and thinking about the space and where the light is. Cool. Very cool. Okay. Eden. Let's take a peek, shall we? No, thank you. Is the stream running better? Are we all good now? Oh, dude, I love this color palette. It's the colors you're playing with in this is nice. He said my name twice. What have I done? That's good. You didn't do anything. You're fine. Dude, this looks cool. You've got light bulbs though underwater, which is a little strange. Let's see here. Trying to block out the temple. I'm not sure what clutter to have. I don't know. To go with a darker story or story war or something, or less depressing, more lively and colorful. Let me keep reading here. Also, I'm struggling to make the podiums and the pillars not match, but have similarities. Oh, you mean like structural design? Okay, and then also makes sense with what they would hold right now. A big sphere. Okay, but does it look Greek inspired? I mean, and also imagine the broken pillars and the rest of them. I haven't bothered to change the bottom from the old design. The old design. So like, okay, so these are the old design. This is the new design. So, I mean, to me, this feels pretty cool. Compositionally, it's really nice. I actually like the darkness. This is Din. What is it? What do you mean? What do you mean? No, I like the darkness. It's good. What I was gonna say is like if you can take the edge here and just imagine it's kind of like when light comes through. Well, I guess let's say this is really deep ocean, right? The only thing giving the light is probably the sphere in the middle, right? The broken pillar is the old design. Okay. Yeah, this one. Right, and then these are the new ones. Okay, I understand. So, I would go a little bit wider, maybe. So, most of the lighting probably coming from the sphere. You could have a little bit of like, imagine the dappled light that comes through from like way above. Maybe it's even more extreme. So the light that kind of like pierces through the ocean and is barely like kissing the bottom of the like where the sand is, right? So with all of that, you get this darkness that I think you're going for, which I really like. This looks really cool. So imagine like taking some of that color out here. So just make the sand go into the darkness. I think that will be interesting. Let me just lower this down so we can just like really softly make this happen. Yeah, I think it going into the darkness is really interesting. And it kind of implies that there's more out there, or this is like a vastness, right? And then this little bit of light is what's illuminating some of the areas around this, primarily around here. And then the main light source is the sphere. What are you guys are going crazy in chat. Some things that I would say design-wise or like compositionally, like I would take these rock elements that are in the back, and I would try and put some more rocks around just to get them in the area. Dude, why is my brush so bad? There we go. Okay. So if you had a few more rock elements, that's something that like you're doing here. This is definitely something to fill this space up with. So you're talking about compositionally filling the space up. You've got varying pillar heights. So you've got the general height is, I assume, is this one. This one's a broken one. That broken piece is perfect storytelling. You just need to make sure that the fracture lines up with the angle that things would fall. If this is like the general height, then these ones either need to be like smaller spheres as like a light source, and then maybe like some steps or something that are going off into the darkness. Or they should also be like these like broken pillars. It kind of feels like this is an entry. Like these would be at your left and right as you approach, if this was on the surface, right? Or maybe it's, maybe it's supposed to be underwater all the time. Think about all the stuff that you would normally find at the bottom of the ocean, or any of the things that you find cool, right? So I really like the design idea of these. I think even just the way they look, if they were just a little wobbly, you could probably go with these from the get-go, like as the design. Like they could just be this shape. I think these are cool. And maybe if they were, like really subtly wobbly, that's quite interesting. Thinking about shells, those types of details. Structurally, when I was saying expanding the space a bit more or making it feel a little bit more open, it's these tangents here. These are like, I'll mark it with like the terrible Empire red. Getting that spacing, a consistency between all the spacing of these will be good. And to really imply how much the sand moves around down here, maybe you have some sand that's built up on the sides of this, right? So you get a little bit of like build up there. My amazing painting skills. This is why I needed drawing books. We're gonna in painting. What is in painting? I just accidentally AI myself. Yeah, some sand is going to be really interesting with like banks and trying to simulate that flow. Like it could be really cool. I'm reading chat here a little bit. Underwater coin stacks, that could be cool. Like maybe someone's worshiping this or was, so there's like little coins and stuff or trinkets or treasures that are around it. But yeah, I'm thinking about the spacing of these. I think normally this type of design would flow all the way around like 4 of these. So like I assume that it was there before. So if you go around this way, it would have gone all the way around. So if something broke here, you would really want to like show that fracturing here, right? Like this break here. Broken. I'm broken. But it already gives the underwater vibe, and I actually really like the directionality of this. Maybe if the steps were like almost entirely covered in sand and there's just little bits of them peeking out, it'll be enough to kind of sell that feeling. Because normally you don't get a entryway in a diorama, and I think that's actually kind of cool. But yeah, space this stuff out a little bit more, the architecture. So it's just not like clipping into each other or like meeting in such a way. Yeah, and with all the colors that you're using here now, I wonder, I like the color palette. I think a gold element could be really cool in here somewhere. I mean, maybe the only thing is just like it's subtle, but just some gold detail, like a trim sheet with gold elements, right? That's just on the centerpiece, nowhere else. That could be cool. You know, the other thing I could maybe like, I can't draw it. I'll do a terrible doodle of it. But fishies, right? I'm a fishy. Wee. So a bunch of fishes up close to the camera, super blurred out. Those are your elements to like close the frame in. I think that would be pretty sick. Maybe some shadows of objects that are up high, like fish shapes, that are just kind of dappling the shapes along the bottom here. But yeah, dude, imagine if these were animated too. So they just flow across and there's a bunch of them. And they just, they flow like a school. Or maybe they whip around. Maybe it's swimming this way and then startled and shoots around this way and shoots back. So sick. But I like where this is going. This is actually really strong already. I don't think you need to like find another scene. I know we were talking about some others, some other ideas to just see if you can come up with a couple, but I think this is already really cool. Spread it out a little bit. Find some elements that you can add to maybe the architecture that helps you push the trim sheets in the center, and think about how everything falls apart and breaks down. An ocean life of some sort. But yeah, really cool. I really like this. This isn't in Unreal, right? Recognize those light bulbs. This all feels really good. 4-week project. Nice. I'm going to make decisions this week. You forgot to press G. We always forget to press G. The real unit. Very cool. Very, very cool. I hope that was helpful. Helen. Okay. I'm going to click this ArtStation post. Okay, so bring this over here. So this is the concept you're going off of, I imagine. Hey, hope everything is fine. My reference. I just wanted to know how you would go about doing the tiles on the roof for this project and maybe general direction about everything. Trying to find a way to do the trees, by the way. I did have some trees with SpeedTree, but I wasn't really satisfied with the results. I also did vertex painting for the wall plaster, and I'm done with this. Done with the C, so no need to talk about that. I'm starting to learn Houdini, so I was trying to do most of it in HDA. Cool. But right now, only did the tower with Houdini. I'm planning to continue with Blender because Houdini really slows me down right now. I mean, whenever you're learning something, right? This is kind of why I talk about balancing execution and learning. Because like once you know how to do stuff, figuring out how to do it with certain tools means you have to learn the tool to be able to execute You know what I mean? Like it just kind of happens that way. So being able to balance like 20% learning and like 80% execution is really important. Let me go through this real fast just to kind of look at the elements. Oh man. Posture check. Posture check. Let's see here. Man, that roof is really cool. So the roof this organic, definitely like Houdini or like using Blender and figuring out how to like use geometry nodes to pull that off. These are actually really interesting as well. This type of silhouette sketching. Man, these are cool. I love this type of stuff. Okay, let's go to your piece. Okay. So you're saying first column today, I got carried away learning more about HDAs, import the tower HDA to Unreal. So this tower is used, created with HDA. So yeah, so you can see like with the roof being this organic, being able to duplicate that mesh and either in Houdini or in Blender with geometry nodes to be able to scatter in an organized way those tiles, I think is how you would want to do it. I mean, it's quite organic, so you could model the outside edges here and then just get this type of material and do a displacement as well. Really depends how, man, it's really organic. I think using Unreal and a tileable material of this and using like a nanite displacement mesh would also do the trick. But it really will, man, these colors are cool. It'll really depend on like the quality of the height map, right? But yeah, GeoNodes would be really good for this. Very straightforward. I mean, this is cool. I can see where you're heading with it. All the planning is there. Execution is starting to happen. This looks like some garlic thing. Gonna be honest. Feels like garlic. It feels like garlic in the concept too. So I guess you're hitting that garlic. These planters are really cool. I would maybe get it into, I don't know if are you trying to get it into Unreal? They're like parrotfish scales for sure. This is like a giant fish was sampled. I would get this into Unreal and start throwing basic color materials on there just so that you have a sense of the scene. Because I think a lot of it is actually there and it's mostly about material and like some of the modeling execution now. Like the trees in the back, man, those are interesting. I don't know how to achieve that look. I see your rock sculpt as well for some of the stones. These guys here. Just make sure that it doesn't get too soft feeling and that you're maintaining these kind of sharp edges, which it looks, I mean, it looks like in the scene it is. You probably don't need very many, but yeah. It's really going to be about the color and the roughness and just making sure there's geo there to work with. The roofing is probably the most intense of the whole thing. Like even this here, I would maybe even like cut this away and not have this be its own like material and this its own material, but like, well, they would be their own material, but I wouldn't do this with like Vertex paint. I would actually just make these two materials and have them be two separate models. Just leaning into the depth of it. Because then you can really push the bricks inward a bit and make the surface quite a bit thicker. Yeah, I think the reason the building is sticking out from the trees is because the building is modeled and then painted on, whereas like everything else is kind of painted. That's really interesting though. It's a very cool scene. I would say make sure that you're nailing your scale. Always have a character in there and check everything against that character. But yeah. Cool. Let me just see one more. Yeah, man, that's a cool scene. This will be really, it looks like you're having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I would just model this separately. Like dupe the mesh, inset it a little bit, cut some of this away. I don't have anything else to say on it yet, but get into Unreal, get some colors and some general roughness values on things, and you'll see your scene is actually way further along than you might think. The color palette seems like it's from Gris. Yeah, I see that. It's very coastal feeling. I mean, there's water back there. Now let's think about it. But it's really cool. Really cool. Okay. Let's jump to the next one. This one's actually just recently completed. You took a course with Alex the 2nd of February and would like to ask for guidance what you think I should improve on in the context of my latest posts. Oh, this feels pretty nice, man. I'm pretty stressed about overscoping projects since I scrapped 3 in 3 months before I made this very small scene. I mean, this is a good size scene, but I get it. It's like scoping yourself and making sure that things don't go too crazy is really difficult, like really difficult for people. I mean, I have that problem too. You get excited and you see things and you're like, oh, and then it can have this and this, you know, and then before you know it, it's like 1,000 assets. But this has a good feeling to it. Let me reread your thing really fast here. For guidance, what do you think I should improve on in context of my latest post? So there's a few things. Nice. Let's can I drag this over? Let's do that. Okay. So in this piece, we've got I'm just gonna like draw some elements here. So we've got this. We've got this line. That line's okay. I'm just gonna like highlight these lines. So I'm all about like breaking lines. And then identifying things that don't feel natural. Because those are the things that stick out to people quickly. Right? So this ivy that I was drawing on, the fact that it stays pretty consistently the same distance on the edge of the frame feels strange, right? So there's that. You have a line here that you want to find ways to break, which could just be like adding a little bit of geometry to like dip it down a little bit, especially near this area. You'll have the visual reasoning because of what's on the wall to be able to dip the edge down a bit. The normal here feels flipped. It's just my gut feeling. There's something about this material as well that feels a little strange, like maybe it's flat or something. But yeah, don't hesitate to like, I see this here. Don't hesitate to add some geo in there and just grab those verts and just pull it up a little bit. It'll give you just a little bit more depth to it. But yeah, looking at those things, let's turn this back on. I'm just catching all these like these straight lines that I can see you're trying to break with like the grass and stuff. Think about other stuff that could be there, little rocks and whatnot. These tile pieces, I guess they're supposed to be coming from up here, right? When they fall, those are gonna shatter like crazy. And I think if you were to scatter it just a little bit further out, it could lead to a little bit more of a natural feeling placement of stuff that's fallen, right? I mean, they're quite heavy too. Maybe it tips this thing over. So you get that one to tip over, it spills some water out, and then you've got some tiles and pieces. So you're just trying to like think about the knock-on effects and all that. Overall, feels really nice though. There's some really interesting details. Some like balancing of the surfaces. So for example, this edge, this is probably something to focus on in the future, is pushing your, I'm assuming this is Vertex paint. Feels like Vertex paint to me. Getting this Vertex paint to feel more natural, you know, where it's just like adaptive and forming into the crevices and then, you know, bringing it, I see it here a little bit as well, pushing that more so it's not so soft and Vertex painty feeling. That's a thing. The other thing that I was like, you see it here as well, right? You can see it's just painted feeling, and you want that to feel. You want it to feel natural, like it's in the crevices, and it like builds up and creeps in and comes back out, and that's just utilizing the mask of a height map in combination with your Vertex painting to really just like push that softness away and make it more like grounded and feel the way that you expect those types of surfaces to break. And then the last thing I would probably mention is the balancing of surfaces. So like this surface here, this is quite bright, right? It's quite a different type of material to like maybe the wall. I would assume this and the wall are going to be kind of close in value. If they're not, then I would say you should take this color and get some of it on here, just so that they kind of connect a little bit, right? Because that helps like melt everything together and kind of makes it feel like the surfaces are in the same world and have been next to each other for some time. So like, it's kind of like what the magic of a layer of dust will do. Or like when you see an environment that's just covered in snow, everything just kind of comes together, and it's because they're all being affected by the snow, right? So think about dust and dirt and what rain does and puddles and where muck and grime and stuff builds up. Find a way to get that into your scene so it consistently kind of shows up all over the place. And that'll go wild with like bringing everything together. And then you can have these nice benefits of this archway being so light, because it'll naturally blend back into the environment as it gets further back in, and into the other values in saturation. Let them cook. The ivy does feel a bit small. I think if the ivy was bigger, that's a good shout. Because like if the ivy was bigger, I think you'd have some more interesting elements that the ivy is contributing to the scene, right? I do like that there's small ivy, but I think if there was leaves that were like twice the size or 3 times the size, it just might feel a little bit. I mean, the other thing too is like maybe that's just how it's grounded, you know? Maybe that's quite realistic for the scale, which is why I feel like this is so solid. It's like just like break it away or like have it creeping up in a few other spots just to kind of, you know, help you break those laser lines like this green, like going and coming into here would do a lot, I think. Just connects all the stuff together, you know? Coming from someone who took Alex's course in July, you haven't finished the scene yet. My advice is to take a big scene where most every workflow is new to you and add learning ZBrush and Designer to it, that's the best way. I mean, if the goal is to learn a bunch of stuff, you will learn a bunch of stuff, right? It's that balance, like we were talking about as well, Ziggy, is like the balance between learning and doing. And as long as you accept that it's a lot of learning, then it's okay if you're like, if it's taking a long time to build stuff, because you're doing a bunch of new things. So you have to give yourself room to also accept what you're doing, and not put these expectations on yourself that can become unrealistic really quickly. Your professor told you to follow this Discord? Dude, that's amazing. Who's your professor? That's so cool. Shout out to your professor. Let's see. I hope that helps. This scene you may think is small. This is a great size scene. This is kind of like diorama level because it allows you to focus on very specific things and just execute those things well, right? You don't have to think about like, okay, how do I make this whole building modular? And how do I, like, talking back to Ziggy, it's like it scales like crazy if you're thinking about the workflows that are required to build whole cities, and you're just doing that workflow just to solve like a small scene. Sometimes it's worth it to just make it look cool. As long as you understand the certain workflows and the processes, you'll be good to go. Just checking chat here real fast. Learn ZBrush, low poly, high poly, unwrapping like everything. Classic. Dude, the life, man. The life. Finding ways to do a lot of stuff without having to sculpt it is the magic sauce, and not very straightforward when you're learning it. Cool. Okay. I'm going to leave that one. Really cool scene. Really cool scene. And hopefully it gives you some stuff to look into. I would try on the normal stuff I was talking about down here. I would try seeing if the green channel is flipped or not on this. It kind of feels like there's not a normal map on it, but on this part, but you know. Your next project will be a close-up of a rock or something. That's a whole other problem. Dude, patience is everything. Okay. This one. Dude, look at this. Look at this. All right, this is Dylan. Dude, this is looking cool. Currently working on this scene in Unreal. Looking to get some feedback on the scene as a whole. Does it read well compositionally? Do the colors work? I plan to remove a bunch of the little statues since they are reading too noisily. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'd love to get your thoughts on the quality of the assets, as it's something I want to push. If this was your scene, what would you prioritize? Adding, removing, polishing. Okay, let's get in here. I think I'm gonna need a bigger. Is it this? Yeah. No. What? No. Why? Okay, maybe I'm gonna. Is it an artboard now? It is an artboard now. All right, let's go. Can I just take this one and delete it? Hey, let's go. Oh, buddy. Like, what's happening? Can I, please? Can I just, yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's, I'm fine. Let's grab some pictures. Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay. Dude, these pictures are huge, bro. Oh, buddy. These are all out of order now. It's fine. I say as I fix it. Cool. All right, let's lock these so I don't do anything crazy. B. There we go. Nice. Nice. Cool. Okay, we're gonna go with this like this color. Man, that's so sick. All right. I'm digging this. So you plan to remove a bunch of the little statues because of the busyness. I don't think it's too busy. So I think what you might want to do. So you're using lighting in a cool way where you're pushing the backdrop further back, right, into the fog and the darkness, and then you're doing these really cool like highlights, but you're really you're artificially toning them down, just so that the focus is on the statue, right? And I think that's fine. I think the busyness of these, I am really picking up on these. I would rotate these more because I'm picking up on these like patterns. But yeah, the busyness usually comes from the contrast differences, right? So you get like lots of like shadows here. There's like dark areas, and then there's highlights. You have like edge highlighting on the edges here. You got a highlight here. So those types of details, those are what's like causing a lot of the noise, right? Just because you get high frequency contrast. I wonder if you were to flatten them out more, surface wise, and like remove the edge highlights. This also sounds crazy. I assume this is in Unreal. You could take all of the small statues and place a directional light that's on a channel that only affects these. So you can do like light channels or like light groups. And then you can control how the lighting is affecting these separately from everything else. Right? So you can do the same with like the rim lights that you're doing here. Like that can be a separate light that's just affecting those. And the light can be really close because of that. Now, I think a lot of the edge highlights that you're doing on your hard surface rocks and like stonework is maybe overemphasized, and it's leading to like drawing your attention. I wonder if there is a good do you have like an albedo only version of this? Because these scenes are sick, and I don't think you need to remove the statues. I think you just need to find out how to balance the elements. Like this card on the tree, I would adjust that so it does not feel like, so you don't lose the illusion, or so you don't break the illusion. Like you can feel the cards here. Yeah, I would keep your little statues. I think in this view, I would maybe even like, man, these are cool. Look at these little flowers and stuff. So a lot of nice things going on. Dude, look at all these little elements. Really nice attention to micro detail. I would maybe see if you could do like a little bit of like a lighting wash on the stones themselves. Let me see if I can fake it. I like trying to fake these things. Let me see if I can, maybe not the boost. It's like a wash. Yeah, maybe a little bit of, yeah. And then like a levels, and we'll invert it. Or not a levels, a mask. Because that wash that I'm talking about, mask. Cool. What? Why can't I paint on my mask, bro? There we go. Yeah, like getting like a soft, because I think a lot of your shadows are really dark. And I think softening those gives it a nice, like I almost think you could maybe even wash the whole thing a little bit. It'll just feel more natural. And that sounds kind of weird. Let me see if I can. So see, by just washing the scene out a little bit, we probably don't need to bring the. And then your shadows, softening those up. I think of your directional light as well. If you try and change the softness of the shadows, that might help subdue a lot of this feeling that you're getting. And definitely in this view, I would do, for this shot, I would take all these statues and prioritize a light that you can control that just affects those. It feels abandoned due to no incense or offerings. That's a good point. Oh, it's interesting. Dude, you can see how like painterly it becomes. Actually, I'm a big fan of the washout a little bit. Let me see, like maybe it's a bit extreme, but I like the feeling it gives. Scene's strong, man. I think it's more like getting away from the feeling of like a procedural pass. Like it kind of it feels like there's a lot of generation on the masks here, and just breaking those up a little bit so they're not so like unapologetically generated feeling, you know? Yeah, the contrast is a big. I think the contrast is doing the most when it comes to the separation of stuff. You might even want to play with like blurring this out a little bit more in the background here, but I don't know. This is a really cool scene. You can tell you're building these shots like to the shot now. Like compositionally is really, really strong. I actually really dig this. It's been yeah, this is It's a very thought-provoking image. It's very strong. This area maybe gets a little too dark. It's strange that this is darker than the backdrop. So just keep that type of stuff in mind. You see it here as well. So it starts to feel a little artificial. Oh, wow, I just noticed there's water here. Interesting. I think this shot and this shot are my favorite. They're just so strong compositionally. Yeah, I would maybe try and make your shadows not as dark. Like I'm doing the this wash, but also just like taking your shadows and bringing them up could do a lot. You can just do that in your post-processing. Very cool. I don't have too much to say on it. Think about sun bleaching on stone, because you could maybe push focus a bit by like washing the stone out a little bit more. The more it's like elevated and exposed to the sun, it'll just get a little bit more washed out. And then like removing a lot of the edge highlighting and letting the sculpts and the normals like do the work. Cool. This is something too, maybe. this like little grass darkness that's happening here. You just add a few more grass tufts in front to just kind of break those up so that you don't get these types of dark. That one's kind of okay. It's these ones here that they pop out a little bit. Yeah, and you can see there's a little bit of like the illusion starts to break is I think what I'm picking up on. Like it feels really nice here, and then you get a little bit here. Yeah, there's a lot of information going on the surface, albedo-wise, it feels like. So like it ends up reading as like detail, and you like zoom in, your eyes like focus on it. Oh, it's cool. Oh man, 21 years old. That's amazing. Sounds like it was a good life. That's a cool scene. It's a very good dedication to your cat. What's your cat's name? I'm curious now. Your cat would be proud, for sure. I'm gonna keep going while I'm waiting for responses here. This is cool. I'm currently working on this marble tiles. And I'm looking for some feedback because I'm struggling a bit with balancing the roughness and the normal info to make the marble more convincing. Thanks again, and any other feedback is appreciated. Okay, so so these are marble tiles. Means star. Wow, that's cool. That's a pretty. I'm not gonna try and say it because I don't think I can. Melody. These look ceramic to me. Normally marble you won't cut like tile like this, but I mean maybe. I don't know. So I think some of my feedback first, like when you go into this view, you really can see a lot more and understand what you're looking at. In marble, you can't find patterns like this. I mean, it kind of looks like there's cut pieces of marble in the tile, right? So I think when I look at this view, this helps me answer a lot of things, right? So first is like the edges are really sharp. I think there's shadows that are casting across this. I would see if you can soften those shadows so they're just like a little bit more diffused along the edges. Let's see what else we got going on here. Contrast is extremely high in this. To try and like bring it down to like a realistic feeling, it kind of, again, it turns into some of the level stuff I like to do with like the output being a little washed. Because like immediately it feels a bit more natural. Because shadows being black like that is really intense. And preferably you want the shadows to kind of be filled with the ambient color of the environment around them. The wood looks pretty nice. Let's see here. Yeah, even in the north, like there's some really nice details going on here. Maybe that edge is a little sharp, but it's got a bevel in the normal, it looks like. The tiles here, there's some little edge damage and stuff going on like that. I think if you really want the marble, like let's say that the little pieces, like I see this is marble and like this is marble. Is every little piece marble? Because that feels strange to me. I would try and identify the pieces separately. So like, for example, if this is marble, hang on here. Can I please? Can I please? So if this is marble, and this is marble, this is marble, and this is marble, everything else is like a tile pattern, right? So think about the surfaces of those being different. That will do a ton. Getting some definition where the marble is on its own and is polished. The marble is going to have a slightly different roughness from the rest of the tile, and it's likely to be even smoother than the rest of the tile. I think you'll notice it a lot in this highlight here for your roughness, because you can see, like, right now, all that information that's going on here is really, like, there's a lot of texture there. And marble is really, especially with like tiles, it's going to be really smooth. Really smooth. So like areas where the marble is really reflective, and then areas where it's not marble being less reflective. That, I think that's how you can achieve that feeling of this feeling like marble. In ceramic, you can't really find those color. That's why they bake it much higher degree to make them porcelain, and they can be colored like this. Aha. You know, I don't actually know the difference between ceramic and porcelain. But yeah, right now it reads more like tiles, like ceramic tiles, and I think it's the roughness and the surface normal that you've got going on here. I'd really smooth out the normals. You studied materials and architecture, so like marbles, porcelains, ceramics. Yeah, understanding those surfaces is going to be key. And for me, marble is almost entirely, it's quite a smooth surface. Let me see here. Amadu's just barking away. Yeah, let's see if this comes in. No? Cool. Thanks. Oh, Shutterstock's got us on lock. Okay, well. You can see how reflective it is. And I think this could be as reflective, but it's the normals are breaking up the information so much that it doesn't come off like marble. Let's see if I can find. How do you train eyes to pick up these things easily? By staring at surfaces like all the time. Eventually it clicks. Porcelain has brighter colors because it hasn't been cooked properly. Whoa. And marble are natural stones, and you can't really find patterns like this. So you're going to have to paint over it if you don't have a big marble block for tiling. I need to go outside often. I mean, you could watch lots of videos and documentaries on stuff too, right? Man, I wish I could find some better imagery on marble. Maybe no. Okay. I'll keep it short and sweet then. But yeah, contrast. Shadows are too dark. This area feels really good. The wood material feels pretty good. Soften the shadows and try to get some separation surface-wise, whether it be the normal, well, probably a combination of the normal and your roughness. And that'll help you get a material definition separation between like marble and porcelain or ceramics. Definitely look at some imagery of those elements, and it'll help you push that out in a more natural way. I think you'll really see it where these reflective highlights are. Really will pop if the marble is smoother. Pretty cool too. It's very contrasty. Be careful of the contrast. Okay. You just came from YouTube here. I recently graduated, want to be a 3D artist. Radmark, what's up, dude? Here's my ArtStation. Okay, I can pick one piece off of your portfolio. Okay, I'll just do, so we have 3 images right now. I think I'm going to click on this gun, but what I'm seeing right now is I don't know what you want to do. Like, are you a character artist, creature artist, hard surface, right? So like those things, those are the things to think about. Like, what do you enjoy doing? And don't worry, if you pick one, you're not locked into it forever. From there, it's going to be about modeling and material understanding, right? So you've got all these pieces. This looks good. Looks like you brought it into ZBrush, sculpted on it a bit. If you're going to sculpt, really like push on like trying to break away from the shape language that is causing things to look like they're modeled. Or like if I can look at it and reverse engineer how you built it, then it's usually too geometric in a way where like it doesn't make it doesn't feel tangible like a real element. Even with stylized stuff, it's like if I can see the geometry through the texturing, then you're not pushing it far enough, right? And like with the topology, like the slow poly, there's a ton of geo that's being used that you do not need. So there's a lot of like overused geometry. You could probably cut this in half and it would still look the same if I had to guess. Seeing your UVs as well. So with UVs, I think we had a stream. Was it last stream? Last Sunday? I think it was last Sunday where we were looking at UVs and unwrapping, and I was talking about that type of stuff. Dog wanted to come in, and then the door opened, and he's like, "No, I'm good." But yeah, those types of things. We ended up talking a lot about like little UV islands, avoiding these, trying to straighten your UVs where possible is going to lead to less skewed bakes, those types of things. Generally, though, I mean, this is a great post because it's showing where you're at in your ability to model, high poly model, your baking, showing your UVs, showing your wireframes. Because you're showing these things, we can actually feedback on them for areas to improve on, right? But yeah. Pretty cool, man. It's just the exciting part is it's very tangible what to improve to just get better. When you start to scrape at like the surface and you're forever going to be trying to get better. That's just how it works. But yeah, try and focus on, if you're sculpting, that you're oh, thank you. Got a drink? Oh, nice. Delicious. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, so you have the workflow down, and now it's a matter of executing on quality and pushing the envelope on pushing your quality, right? So trying to get away from it looking like geometry, looking at real life references, even in a stylized scenario, so that you can understand how stuff's put together. Like you're adding little bolts and stuff here, getting other elements in here to help you understand how things are put together, figuring out how to get the grip to feel like it's made out of another type of material. Usually I would say with this type of detail is that you model that all in, and then doesn't need sculpting. Knowing what it's made out of, it's probably going to be a pretty hard surface. And then retopologizing in a way where you're using geometry where you need it. So like there's a lot of information here you probably don't need, right? So being able to remove geometry while retaining the look and feel is another skill to push, and then just improving your UV packing and how your UVs are shaped. Like for example, this piece right here is curved, right? Avoiding the curve, straightening those out is going to get you cleaner, easier to texture bakes, and yeah, just the end result's just it's gonna look more professional going that way. But cool, and welcome to the our community. Yeah, this part here, if you never see that, you can probably cut it off right here. You can probably cut right here, and all that extra texture space for other things, that's where it's at, man. But cool. Okay. Let's see here. David, dude. David. Let's see here. Man, this is okay. Let me click on this. This is looking cool. It's looking really nice. Thanks for taking the time, first of all. I'm mainly looking for feedback on composition. So your composition's already quite strong. Everything's telling me to go to that opening, that doorway. And shapes or any general comments about the scene or how to make it more intriguing. I still haven't done any material work, so please ignore that. Okay. I mean, it's pretty far along. The lighting is really nice. Feels cool. It feels hot outside and then nice and cool in here. I think we need to know why that doorway is interesting, or like why we want to go there. If you had like a little podium here that's in shadow, it's not lit or anything, but it's just something, and there's something on top of it. Light, it doesn't have to be glowing. There doesn't need to be a light on it or anything. Just something to go like, huh, what is that? You know? Because everything here looks pretty cool, and everything compositionally is pretty interesting, and it's just a matter of like, I'm looking here. I like what you're doing with the environment. I think you should just texture it. How long have you been working on this? Because it's pretty detailed. Like, are these all high poly, or have you baked these down and you've just kind of brought them in? Like the scattering of the rocks on the ground is pretty cool. Maybe, let's see here. This sounds crazy, but let me copy this. We'll paste it in here. Let's you know how sand will do this thing around the objects it's flowing past? If you can get that look, like sand is like blowing in. I think that would be like the final detail, because you can see how these all feel like they're just kind of floating. You could thinking. Whoops. Thinking here. Yeah, I think that would look really cool. I was gonna say, like, if you could in the material use distance fields as a mask. So in Unreal, you can use, like, let's say you have this rock and it's a solid mass, like it's a mesh, right? There's a distance field or an SDF, assigned distance field, a shape that gets created that represents the object in the distance field pass. You want to say it like that. In the shader, you can use that shape and check it against other shapes in distance fields. So let's say, for example, in a side view, you've got your terrain doing this, and you've got a rock placed on the ground. This distance field is passing between, like this is penetrating through another distance field. In the shader, you can create a mask around that. And that mask is going to be automatic. So it'll happen everywhere that a rock is. So now you've got this mask that's going around all of these. And from that, you could maybe take that mask and do the same thing. This is how you do ripples with water and objects in Unreal. Because you would take this mask and you would animate it over time, and that makes this span outwards. Now, if you were to just do it once, blur it, and then apply it back to the terrain as a normal map, you can start to get this sense that the rocks are interacting with the sand. And I think that would probably help ground a lot of these, because if right now it doesn't feel like they're grounded. See, the other thing you could do is, instead of a normal, you could make it so that the sand, when a distance field passes into another distance field in the sand shader, the height of the sand gets lifted a little bit. So all the sand would then like creep up around objects that push into it. Sort of how you get ripples around rocks and water, right? Yeah, yeah. So think about it from a sand perspective. That could be pretty cool. I don't know how you would do, like, if you wanted the directionality. This one I would probably just, you could do it with like decals or like terrain decals, or because I don't know how you would do it with a direction. Anywho, I think those details would help ground your rocks a little bit, because they do feel like they're just floating there. Outside of that, it's just this doorway, and I think the scene's pretty cool. Maybe lower the bounce lighting just a little bit so that the ceiling is a little darker, and just let I would texture everything first, because your albedo and your roughness are going to affect how much light is bouncing, right? So get that texture pass in there. I don't know if there's going to be much color in here or not. Is there any painted patterns, that type of stuff? And just a little opinion, debris are looking more horizontal, maybe like a bit overlapped in the sand and rotated horizontally. Yeah, I mean, all the rocks feel a little placed on top of the surface. You probably want, like you're saying, you want some like sunk into the sand, a little dip. But yeah, this scene's cool. I would get like a base texture pass on it, see how it's feeling, do some lighting adjustments, maybe push the complexity of the sand with interactions with the little pebbles, and maybe add like a little podium thing here. I'm like, can I? Oh, this is multiply. That's why. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, just getting a little podium back there would be pretty cool. I don't think you're going to see it either. But something back there, right? I think it would be just something. Yeah, I don't know. But it feels like something back there will draw you. Maybe if it's in shadow, but then it's quite shiny, so you get this little hint of reflection off of it. Could be kind of cool. Sick scene, though. Composition seems fine. It's just, let's get it textured. Yeah, and I'm really curious about the color palette. All right. Let's hop to the next one. We've got, what do we got, like 12 minutes? And I've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 scenes to go through. Let's get to it. Okay. We got a concept. Ooh, it's like very painterly. This is my first time posting for critiques here. Welcome to the party. You just started working on this environment right now. You're just trying to get the proportions to feel right and create some interesting shapes. I hear Madhu scratching the door. I would like to know if anything about the scene feels off so I can fix it early on. Smart. Smart. Okay, let's copy this. Brain. Brain, where are you, Brain? Cool. Cool. So right now you're copying it pretty closely. Maybe the length of the building. Like it feels like it could be a bit longer. Like this extends. Let's use the colors. Like this could extend out a little bit further. You got 3 windows and then some type of extension on the back here. So 3 windows, maybe that extension, something back there. And then the statue feels like you've rotated it, right? And you've taken some liberties of adding the steps and stuff. I guess I would make the statue like, yeah. I like that the statue's facing the camera because then you see the wings. Whereas with yours, you only see the one and then a little bit of the other. So it's hard to understand what you're seeing. Man, it's all very cold. Warm light in the front plane coming from outside the frame. That could be interesting. You mean like somewhere around like a warm light that's hitting here and maybe a little bit here, a little bit here. So it's kind of like implying that maybe someone has like a flame torch or something. That's kind of interesting. What else? This all looks like it happens on the top and stops here, and then there's an opening. And right now yours is going in. I think from here on out, I would, because what's happening is you've got, so there's this plane, right, in the concept, and then there's all this happening in the background. We're high enough up that you don't get that plane anywhere. You can clearly see where you're heading. And I think if you were to lower the camera a little bit, you could probably shorten the building, and then you can use that framing to your benefit, where like this part here is like flat, which could be somewhere here, and then just be like looking up at the building. So the building maybe rises, like doesn't get taller, but the terrain that the building is on goes up a little bit. I mean, it's a painting, right? So it's going to be a little abstract in that way. But I think trying to make the composition more interesting that way could help a lot with all of this stuff. I would maybe see if you can get the sky to be bright in the back so that you can start getting this silhouette stuff going on. The trees that you're blocking out are pretty cool. This one's quite prominent. I would try and get a pretty prominent one here to help with like the framing. And then I wouldn't try too much to solve like how you get to this. It looks like it's more of just like a, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but let me just erase all this. You walk up this flattens out, but you keep going, and then you walk up to this and you go inside. Behind the church, there are more steps back here. And this looks like some type of opening. This is way back there. So this thing is huge. Way bigger than the church. And yeah, fog cards are going to help you a lot. You can see all the fog that's here. Like all of that is helping separate like all of these elements. Like you'll get so much depth from that. So I would, because this doesn't feel far enough back. This actually needs to go back here. And then go, you know, up nice and tall in the distance. So I'd probably play with your macro shapes. Oh, you can't erase curves. That's cool. Your macro shapes being the pathway, right? You've got the little path here. You've got your rocks. You have your building and then your structure here. And then the rest of the like larger trees to help play with that composition. Get the depth, the layering, and the kind of height variation. And I think that'll elevate the composition before you go further. Pretty cool though. Welcome again. Okay. Next up is Philip. This looks interesting. Delete these. Let's drag this. No? I'm like, no? You're not going to let me drag that in? Okay. Okay, so I made this with my partner and we would like critiques on it. We focus a lot on fundamentals, so we would like the most comments on that. But if you have any more feedback, we would be glad to hear it to improve for the next time. Okay. So the scene's pretty cool. There's some nice like little micro detail stuff. You've got what looks like a food stand. Hello, Madhu. He's like, why'd you lock me in here? That's interesting. I don't know what this is. Oh, is it like a little painting thing? Aha, it's a little paint. Okay. This feels like there's supposed to be, man, this has got dark vibes to it, but it almost feels like there's a little bit of a puppet thing going on. And then you've got some of these going on. Okay, so I think the thing that's sticking out to me the most is the lighting. So this, framing wise, it doesn't feel like composition more so than like, this feels like you'd be in a game. Do you know what I mean? Like this would be the camera angle while you're playing. And maybe you like come into the shot and you're running around freely. The camera's stuck here. Kind of has Mario vibes, yeah. And then when you go off screen, it switches to another angle, right? So I think what I would say is, so the ground feels a little flat, right? You can see these like laser lines. So getting details to kind of break those. You're doing that nicely with the paintings. The little leaves are a nice touch. They're being used a lot in areas where you're trying to get that kind of like micro detail that we were just talking about. This is a nice detail, like having the leaves and then this. Then you got trash cans. Everything is very dark right now. I think that's the other thing that's kind of throwing me off. So you've got like lit windows. You've got like a lamp here that's not really glowing or anything, but it's got like fireflies around it. So everything is telling me to not focus on anything in particular is basically what the lighting is telling me. Everything is pretty clear in the distance as well. I'd really push that back and then try and get some separation from elements, right? So like these lantern light, these like street lights, maybe taller, maybe brighter, in a different color from the windows, maybe toning the window lighting down or like turning the lights off almost entirely, maybe only a few windows on, just so that you can get some like focus on certain elements. Like, what do we need to be focusing on? The execution of the assets is pretty interesting and it looks good. Some areas, like I think mainly the ground is lacking just because it feels very flat. And doesn't really have like a design to the logic of it. Like it's starting to happen here. There's some like things happening to try and bridge the gap and come up with stuff. So contrasting more of the elements. I mean, not so much contrasting. I mean, so right now, like if you squint, there's nothing to focus on. There's a lot of like little spots of brightness and darkness everywhere, right? And you want to try and like even that out. Clear the palette, like remove all of the lights and bring in your natural lighting, your moon maybe, because it looks like it's more of a darker time. And then from there, turn the lanterns on, figure out what those lanterns need to be lighting and position them accordingly to pull that off. And then from there, you turn on the windows that help support the composition. Because I think in this shot specifically, the focus is this little stand, right? Yeah, I don't know what to focus on. There's some nice details going on. The leaves feel a little bright, and I don't know where they're coming from because I don't see any trees with those leaves. You know what I mean? Like I see these ones, but you probably need to get some of that color into the tree as well, just so it like connects more. Like the thing is though, is like, it's looking pretty interesting too. This backdrop's crazy. Look at this. Just pushing it back. What the heck's going over there? Pushing it back in the atmosphere is going to help a lot. And like, for example, if I zoom in here, this is an interesting scene in itself. I think you guys are building such big scenes that it becomes hard to figure out what to focus on, right? That's some interesting stuff here. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of like straight lines to solve, drawing things, like connecting things together, getting the lights to feel natural, like, and what they're illuminating. Like there's a lot going on here that is interesting, and you can see the ground just doesn't hold up to a light source casting across it. And this is also maybe a little strange for me, is like this straight line above really makes me feel like the camera is supposed to be locked in this view and I'm supposed to be running around in the shot in a game. Yeah, and look at your albedo values, because the ground feels really dark. Like the albedo values for this guy and like some of the props around here feels pretty good. This might be a little dark. The ground is extremely dark. And it is nice to have some contrast just so that you can see the leaves and all that stuff on top of it. But I think it's so dark that it feels unnatural. Yeah, I'm starting to get a scratchy throat. That's I hope I'm not getting sick. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I could feedback on other than like really like hone in on the camera angles you want. Like, dude, being down here looking up at this and seeing these like shooting off looks like it would be really interesting already, right? So yeah, if you get a chance, send me the an albedo version of that. I'd love to see it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going because we're already over time. Look at this. Look at this madness. Pavel, dude, what's up, man? Also, I think it's really cool that you're working with your partner on a scene. That's so nice. Sounds fun. So, I made this piece to increase my chance of finding a job in the current tough market. Dude, the market's crazy right now. No joke, for sure. And high competition. Do you have any ideas on how I could further improve the scene? I mean, this looks pretty cool. The camera works pretty wild. Let me see here. It looks like you are, but are you using detail normals? These particles, these dust particles, they feel very out of scale. Like they feel really small. I would see if you can like scale them up. Maybe not as bright. They're just, yeah. Let me start at the beginning here. Man, that camera works crazy. I feel like you're panning past this stuff so fast that you're like, look at the statue, but I actually want to be looking at the chandelier. So it pans by and I can never really focus on it. Turn sound on. I don't think I can. Not on stream. Might be able to for me. Here, I'll drop this in chat. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Man, this music's crazy. Okay. Once you hear the music, all I'm asking myself is where is all of the blood? Like, it feels like there's supposed to be a ton of blood in this scene. Like something horrible happened and it wasn't just spilling my drink. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I'm seeing is someone spilled their drink. Dude, the sound though is good job with the sound. Yeah, I need to something. It needs to feel like something happened. I mean, the assets look good. The table maybe feels the lowest res out of everything else. Maybe crisping up, like, you know, I always talk about detail normals. Maybe a detail roughness could help, like, really push the surface a bit. But everything looks so crisp and the table feels a little lower res. I feel like some blood projection is needed. That's a cool chair. I mean, all these assets look pretty sick. It's just it's damaged, but it feels very clean. You know, there's not really a dirtiness kind of melting everything together. Dude, look at these assets. These are cool, man. I mean, this is good looking stuff. Oh, that's awesome. You randomize the candles on position. Oh, and then you have an override as well. Very nice. Yeah, I liked when you brought up the overall brightness of the scene. This is really good. Yeah, you're talking about the metal on the side of this table here. Yeah, see, once you brightened it up, like it ends up feeling more natural. It's interesting. So there's a lot of wood and a lot of metal and some fabric, right? There's some elements of metal, but it's not too many. So the range of roughness is varying. The least impressive thing I'm seeing in this post is actually this mask because I don't understand why it looks that way. And I don't see the end result visualized. Like I don't understand why you did a mask. Because it's just not coming across, I guess. But it really feels like there needs to be a bunch of blood in here. I'm not gonna lie. That's really cool, man. I think to improve it is to, I mean, the table looks pretty good, But what I was saying earlier is the table doesn't feel right compared to everything else. The assets on their own look quite good, and the scene together in the shots feel good. It feels like there's a story, but I'm not really sure what the story is. And the video just scared the crap out of me. Like I panned past it and it exploded in my ears. To show the workflow there. Right, I understand the workflow. So this is like an example of, okay, I understand that you know the mask workflow, but I don't know what you're doing with the mask. It looks very random or like painterly. And then the end result, I don't understand what you're doing with the mask. Like I don't see the results of the mask usage. I think that's the thing. Dude, you see this? The ground? See these apples are just floating? But the moment there's shadows, boom, they like lock in. Yeah, I don't know what happened in the scene, but it sounds treacherous. So I think maybe clearer storytelling and honestly, the rest is feeling pretty good. The dust particles feel a little bright and a little sharp. This pan, I really want to look at this stuff, but it's just going by so fast. But the movement all feels really good. Man, these roots are cool. See the dust? It's like everywhere, so it's really hard to see what we're trying to look at. This is a nice detail, the little bits of sand and dirt and stuff. More of that along everything. Like if this blasted through the ground, dude, there'd be dirt and particles and stuff on top of everything. That little micro detail, scatter that throughout. Like not on everything, but like just make it feel like the space was affected by that explosion. Because right now it's more of a set piece than like an actual thing that happened, you know? Cool scene though. Holy cow. Very well executed. Okay. 3 more. We are way over time. Jamie, this is looking cool. Work in progress portfolio scene. Starting to refine the props and modular kits and currently working on the high poly in the sink. I like what you're doing with the sand. Oh, dude, this is going to be cool. I don't have any feedback yet. Maybe the details in your high poly make them a little bit thicker and really lean in on bevels. It's the thing I say the most often. But I think your composition looks pretty strong. I would maybe build out a few more of the like mini pieces that you're going to add in. But if you're confident in your composition already, don't worry about it and just keep going. Really get that sag in the ceiling though. Nice, really, really nice block out. You've even got your base colors in there so that you just have a feeling of the scene. Nice. I don't have anything else to say on it actually. Yeah. Yeah, see, this should be thicker. But definitely work in progress currently. So, okay, Daniel, working on this abandoned asylum environment. Nice reference. Feedback on the composition of environment storytelling. The idea is that this place was secretly used for experiments. Okay, so if this place was secretly used for experiments, you want to just be in the hallway, you probably want to just be showing some signage, some text on signs that tells you that it's experiment, blah, 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 or this is the patient, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because outside in a hallway, you're not really going to tell what experiments are happening because all the experiments are happening in the rooms, right? Think about the size of the hallways, height of the ceiling, how the space is built, And man, that is terrifying. So I feel like this is narrower than your space. And getting that paint peeling look and really making the environment darker and only allowing certain lights to really let you see what you're looking at. That's going to be how you get that. You could probably build a prop of like peeled paint pieces that's actually geometry and then just scatter it wherever you see fit to like really push that. There's a paint peel blender add-on I saw on the Blender Market. It looked pretty nice. That could be your gateway drug into this type of stuff. You could build some props off of it and then prop with it. Yeah, the sand height stuff, Jamie, dude, hell yeah. But you're not going to be able. It's going to be difficult to tell someone that this is an experimental hallway or a hallway for a place where experiments are happening. If you don't see any of the experiments, you know what I mean? So you got to like really lean into the ominous side of it, or like the things that are on the outside of these rooms that tell you a little bit about what's going on in the place. That's how you would probably do the storytelling, I think, anyways. Okay, last one. Oh, dude, look at that ground, bro. So this is Mr. Snow. Composition suggestions for vampire lore. Still working on an area where the red light is coming from. Also need to color correct the background fog sheets. Yeah, color correcting those will help. This framing wise already looks really cool. Details are looking pretty good. Man, that ground feels really nice. I think the normal that's on these is a bit distracting right now, but it's maybe just for now, you know? Everything's quite pristine. I like the organicness of the ground, and I think you should solve this building. I would put a trail of blood going to this gate. I think that, and then maybe a very clearly vampire-like silhouette in the light, I think would be really cool. I don't know if you need any of this over here. I think it's all about this shot. Yeah, it's really wide for no reason, I think. But I'm excited to see what you do with this building and like, dude, get that freaking silhouette in there. And a trail of blood. Oh my God. Yes, please. In the little crevices of the, like between the stones. You could add like the onslaught, man. Just take this character, pose him in a bunch of different like bodies and just splatter blood like everywhere. Like, like just an entire group of heroes slashed to the ground. Maybe moving the fence shadows away from the path. Oh, yeah. Well, I do like the path being dark like this. But you really need to like, you can play with the reflectivity of the blood or the shininess of the stones to push the lighting and or detail in the shadows a bit more, right? So play around with the roughness of that and just see what happens to the surfaces. And really, you might need to damage up a bunch of stuff. It feels really pristine right now. Edges are quite sharp, and you're going to want to get like the gaps of dirtiness and little rocks and pebbles and stuff. The stuff happening between the stones here, getting those around the crevices here is going to be key, I think. See that puddle there? Dude, that could just be blood, bro. Blood, bro. Blood. Dude. Blood. 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 Blood on the walls. It's pretty cool, though. The scene's looking pretty sick. I can see some Prague-like inspiration going on here. I'm pretty sure I built a building like this once for Forza. Gore Jeremy Unlocked. Dude, I'm a big fan of Doom Eternal. Okay. I have to get out of here. I am hella late. I'm probably going to hear about it when I get into the living room. It's okay, though. It's okay. Oh, man. Did you guys enjoy the stream? Was it a good one? It was a little bumpy in the beginning. I was like, wow, what's happening? What am I doing? Where's my music? There it is. Okay. Cool. Dark Souls. It was fun as usual. Nice. Blood's the word for tonight. Yeah. Blood. Dude, blood. Blood. All right, guys. Have a good Friday tomorrow. And I'll see you in the Discord. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.